Well.
Wait, what episode are we on? 24 or 25?
That's 25.
Is this 25?
I'm saying this with confidence, but I actually have no idea what episode it is.
I think it's 24, but I don't know for sure either.
Lewis is a loyal listener.
Yeah, the only listener.
What episode are we on?
In my heart, because I listened to all of the episodes over and over again, I was the first 50 views on that first episode.
Yep.
So to me, it's like episode
the
130. But yeah, mid-20s sounds about right in terms of chronologically.
That doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
Okay, mid-20s. This is the mid-20s episode.
This is the mid-20s. Yeah.
Episode mid-20.
This is where the show goes from its formative, immature stages into it's realizing it kind of has to be an adult now, and it has to, buy a house and stuff like that. Care about its retirement plan.
It can still stay small because no one else listens to the show. So, if we were growing as a show, getting more people to listen, maybe.
What's the marketing like? Where's the video? Where's the painted models and where's Matt Mercer? Who's Matt Mercer out of the two of you to make famous D&D content?
Well, it'd have to be Albert, right? Because he's the DM.
Does that make you Travis Willingham? Or
or Sam Riegel.
Yeah, Sam Riegel.
Liam
O'Brien.
I'm already out of my depth because I don't watch or listen to Critical Role. So.
Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Far Kingdoms, episode mid-20s. Today we have a very, very special guest, our very own player who plays Storm, Lewis. Welcome to the podcast, friend.
Hey, it's my third one now. I made it 3 times.
You are a tri-star champion. That's what you are.
Is that the most, or has Matt had more?
I think Matt's on 3 right now.
Okay, so I'm coming up to par.
No, Matt.
Is he on 4?
No, yeah, right. You're right. No, Matt has had 3. Yeah. Matt has had 3 because Matt was one of the last people we had.
His were in quick succession.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the last people we introduced to the podcast, and then he just happened to be there both times when we were planning to record. So we were like, "Hey, come record it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just happenstance,
Well,
but we have chosen. You are chosen. You're not
chosen.
Just a coincidence.
I wasn't here
carefully selected for your opinions on this podcast.
Well, my first opinion I can give, they call me Old Opinionated Lewis is my main name.
Yep, that's what they call you.
First
Old
opinion.
Opinionated.
Great intro song, A1 peak intro.
Oh, fantastic.
That's my first opinion, I'm going to say. But,
I'll
have more.
We're just jerking ourselves off.
Yeah, if you want me to check in with more opinions, just, you can say opinion check.
I've got an opinion.
Yep.
I've got an opinion.
Opinion me.
This is a great podcast. Whoever makes this podcast, great.
Oh, I think so too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think so.
Too.
I think it's a great podcast.
I think so too. That's crazy. You know what my opinion is?
What's your opinion?
Yeah,
go,
what's
go,
that?
Go.
People need to get in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, please.
Yeah.
Hey. We need it.
Now,
Lord knows we need it.
The YouTube comments, I've delved in the Far Kingdoms YouTube comments, and is it preferred when I comment on a bot spamming links in your comments? If I reply to them, does it? Is it showing conversational engagement? How does it work?
Any engagement is good engagement.
Just anything.
I'll take it. Okay.
We don't care about the type. Just please engage.
I mean,
the least that bot can do is leave a view, right?
Right. They don't even watch it.
Come to the video and just put a comment in.
Yeah. Well, everyone, if you don't like this video and comment, we will know.
Okay.
I expect. So, how many players do we have? 5 players.
5.
I expect 5 comments. This includes you, Kevin. 5 comments on the YouTube video, and they each have to be written. There's a 1-sentence review written from the perspective of your character. This is English homework now.
Wow, you just made them not want to do it so badly.
If they don't do it, then problems in the next game. I tell you, we're gonna metagame issues in now.
Oh, someone's gonna trip and fall and die.
Yeah, Storm isn't done tackling people off of ledges.
even if you just put a comment in the episode discussion in the Discord, that's good enough.
Not in the Discord. The Discord doesn't give us the engagement we need.
Just give us anything.
We need YouTube growth here, not Discord growth.
I mean, Lewis, you say delving through the comments, but there's not much to delve through.
Delve through.
Like,
I have to click the button
section
that opens up the comments, and then I have to scroll a little bit. And I think that's a delve.
I don't think you need to scroll at all.
On the mobile, I think. I don't know.
The mobile.
Yeah, I use
That
mobile.
makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, Lewis, since you're such a devout listener, listening to these,
I am. I've
podcasts
listened to every single
times,
one.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you settle in to listen for a podcast? What are you doing at the time? You're going for a walk, or you're going for a drive?
It does depend. I don't drive because I don't have a car. So that's not me. I used to use it for my walks. However, I don't do long walks regularly now. I do them more like once a week. I use the podcast generally when I'm trying to unwind. I've finished work. I don't say I come home. We are in lockdown. I finish work, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to chill out. I don't want to watch anything. And I think the last one I put it on, I was listening to it while I was cleaning my room. It's all catharsis. It's all about calming energy. All I want to do is hear about someone's D&D group and how they play.
Specifically
I
yours.
guess it's a plus.
Specifically
I
mine,
guess
but
it's a plus
relatively
when you're involved in it.
It's it's nice because it is a bit of ego stroking when you hear someone talking about you over a podcast medium. But it's
you think we have a calming energy? Do you think this podcast has a calming energy? I don't think so. We're like yelling half the time.
Yeah, and that's why I like it. I like high energy podcasts, but it's like it takes your mind off of it. You don't. I would rather listen to you yelling about why the cat person in the fantasy world is bad, rather than thinking about real life problems. It's an unwind, and that's what people need to think of. We need those 50 people back. What happened to them?
I thought
You
you
just
said
said
that
that.
was all you.
Yeah.
You said that was all you.
I mean, caught in my own lies, my web of lies.
I don't know. They disappeared into the nothingness, the void.
Sorry, we'll have a look at it. I'll give you a hand. I'll start OnlyFans promoting you and stuff.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Some toe pics.
Yeah, that's my expert opinion as the number one listener of the Far Kingdoms podcast.
Okay. Should we do a recap this episode, or do you just want to dive straight into the discussion topics? What do you think?
Well, the last couple of times we kind of fell into discussing stuff, and then we did like a more sped up recap. But I think specifically those previous times we had on the podcast, they were shorter sessions, and this was a fairly short session too, like both in terms of time and in terms of narrative. Like the narrative progression wasn't like all that fast either.
Did it feel longer to you guys? It kind of felt longer to me. I don't know why.
Felt short to me.
Oh, okay.
Lewis? I think Kevin quantifies it based on like narrative progression, is how he seems to quantify like how long a session is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it was long, and I think there's a lot of work to do on your part because we've got a new character that needs to be strongly established, I guess, very quickly, because he's now competing against very established characters in terms of like character relationships in the world. So
yeah, I like that. I like that description. You're competing against very established characters. Yeah. Snow's a brand.
And I think when you're focusing on that, a lot of the session will move towards RP and talking and learning about other people, which we haven't had to do in a while because our characters have known each other.
That's fair enough, yeah.
I think there's two parts to it, I liked it. Like, it wasn't a long session, but I think it's hard to do long sessions online anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just the energy. It's sucked out more rapidly. I don't know. I think in terms of character development wise, or just character exploration wise, it was a pretty damn good session. I want to say that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. What was your name your top 3 character development highlights?
I think
top 3
mostly is just exploring Ravener and how he is as a character. Because last podcast we compared him to Korg, right? And how I could only see him as like a copy paste of Korg. Like I can't differentiate the two.
Yeah.
But I think now he's kind of come into his own just by seeing, like, there's nothing in particular that really stands out, just by seeing his actions as a living, breathing character in this fictional world, like the crow's nest where you drop down, and then the ledge where you tackled him off. Just stuff like that, where it's like, okay, it's not Korg, it's just someone who sounds like Korg, and he's got his own personality, his own motives, his own things to do, and he's really stuck into the whole the Temple of Vosny stuff, like the teachings of Vosny, and that's really cool to me.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace when we have a character that's like properly devoted to their religion.
Is that a shot fired?
Don't say Toggle. Don't say Toggle, okay? Toggle doesn't count, okay? He's had multiple chances.
I thought that was a bomb dropped on Toko. I thought it was a...
Oh, it was absolutely a bomb dropped on Toko.
We're dropping bombs?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to...
Yeah.
How are you saying your catchphrase before you do that kind of stuff?
What's the catchphrase?
The Far Kingdom's catchphrase. Can I drop a bomb? Yeah, let's drop a bomb.
Oh, we don't ask permission anymore. We're like America.
Oh, shit. Sign it off. Sign it off. Yeah, I think it's cool seeing him grow into a character. I think it was a little bit unfair that you put him into a box so quickly, and I think I defended him on the Discord. But I tried to give him a lot of opportunity for character development, just because I think Storm is probably the most well equipped in terms of where I am as a character to enable Ravener. Just with Storm's interest in Vosny and wanting to learn about it, and his loss of Radalak, and there's probably a void to be filled almost in that space. So I don't know, that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I always knew that I was going to be able to separate the two characters, just like I separated Ryan from Ryan Reynolds and Storm from an average Bostonian man. Gabagool. So it was going to happen. I just didn't expect it to happen so fast. I thought it was going to be a much slower progression, but I think this session in general really helped speed that along. And now in my head, it's like, oh yeah, that's Ravener. It's not Korg anymore. I'm happy with that.
Do you think it's down to the fact that we're just much more experienced players and know how to push a character better?
I think so, yeah. I think this is a very telling factor of how much we've played so far, and how fast we can get over the humps of storytelling and RPing.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Snow? Did you enjoy how Ravener introduced himself?
Snow,
Kevin.
Yeah.
As soon as you start talking about D&D, I switch. I've got a switch in my brain because I don't want to. When we're in the middle of a session, I don't want to use anyone's real name.
Yeah, I do that too. All right, Kevin.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's good. It's a lot better than, past attempts at introducing new characters to the party. A lot better. Yeah, there's not much I can really say about it, or any complaints really. It does seem like really quick, that he's really quickly. It seems jarring that he's integrating really quickly, but that's just kind of the nature of introducing a new character that's going to stick around for a while. So, you kind of speed that up a little bit, but for the most part, it's fairly natural, and he seems to be gelling well with at least some of the characters.
Yeah. I think there's like a very delicate balance between good RP and realistic RP. Do you know what I mean? Like if we're being totally realistic, you guys wouldn't trust this man at all. Like he'd be very much an outsider to the party. He wouldn't mesh as fast. But I just don't think that induces a good gameplay, at least from a storytelling or just D&D perspective.
I think you do.
I think you guys nail that. Yeah.
You do have to be flexible, and there is a point. It's like, Aiden is our friend, and we're not just going to shun him because of his character. We want everyone to enjoy the session. But I think I called it out as Storm. Like, hey, this is when he was talking about about Thunder, and he was saying, we got to take him in and get him penance or whatever. I was like, hey, that's not for you. That's for me and my boys, my gang. So like,
Yeah, there's still a bit of a split.
I'm trying to talk about the split and the discussions we had, like in the Crow's Nest, where we were talking about what do we do with Thunder, and maybe Ravenar can be Thunder's Radalak, and I'm trying to, within reason or within canon, create reasons that Ravenar would stick around, so it doesn't seem, so it's not a glossed over point. I think it would just be really interesting if we could get it like a tight transition.
Yeah, I think we're paving the way for that full integration to take place, because you're right, he's not properly a part of the Blood Brothers yet, but yeah, that's right. We're just kind of paving the way. We're tagging along with him, and I would hope that the relationship develops between him and the party, over the course of when we travel to the northern port town. I always forget the name. Was it Al-Hadar or Al-Tajara?
Yeah.
Which sounds a lot like Al-Hadaran.
Which is the desert.
A lot. Yeah, which is the desert. So,
look, I'm pretty sure the translated they both mean sand something in Arabic or something. So
I got it. Those are two names I don't have issues with in this campaign. So we're good.
Perfect. Because that's going to be on the menu for quite a while, I think. Okay.
And what were your other two character moments? RP moments.
Well, Crow's Nest and then Ledge, so that's 1, 2.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what my least favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. That might be too much.
No. Come on.
No.
We dropping bombs.
Hey, what the hell?
We're dropping bombs?
We're always dropping bombs.
Dropping bombs.
I don't think we should be allowed to Google riddles for
I
the
agree.
Sphinx encounter.
I agree, and I think the problem is because remember, Aiden's like, I have one, can I Google it? And we said no. And then we kind of tried it, and for some reason, after we tried the first one, it changed. It was like, Matt tried to say his, and it didn't work, and he just Googled it. And then I didn't Google anything. I want to take a different approach. And I know Maple actually took the approach I wanted to do, but better than I wanted to do it. So, like, I don't think you should be able to Google anything that your character is meant to produce.
I think within certain reason, there's like allowances. Like if your character is very knowledgeable in like a certain race, they should be able to at least like Google or look into the book of like how this race operates and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's just a very hard encounter to just to RP in general, because it requires both real world knowledge and just normal street smarts, and it's not actually pertaining much to D&D.
Yeah.
Because if we were actually role playing it D&D wise, it would be like someone rolls a like an intelligence check or like a wisdom check to find like a good riddle to give to the Sphinx. But I personally, as a DM, don't think that's fun. Although I know other campaigns would do something like that. Do you think that approach would work better for us or not?
It makes sense in terms of like how your character would do stuff.
Yeah. The thing with riddles is, you're right, it does depend on outside knowledge as a person. Like, do you actually know any riddles? And I myself am not good at riddles.
Me too.
At all.
Yeah.
I cannot solve them for the life of me. So I don't naturally go out and find riddles or whatever. Albert, you seem to be great at solving riddles, unless you were.
I know. I just know the common ones, because I played a lot of riddle games as a kid. So I just know the most common ones. Like some of them stump me. Like the one, I think the second one, the last one Aiden told us. I was like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. It turned out to be pie or something.
But I think also
what I was getting at, like, if you wanted to like set up like a riddle challenge or trial or something like that, maybe sprinkle some riddles within the game world, like while the players are in the world. So like we're in Huria, Toko went to the library. You find a book of riddles, and there's some riddles there. And so you're giving them like some tools, right? And you're not giving them the answers. You're giving them just some riddles. And the double positive for that is that you're kind of expanding the world. These are the kind of the riddles that people talk about or people know within the world, And then when it comes up, they'll be like, "Oh, we found some riddles in the book some sessions prior. Let's whip one of those out and see if that works."
That's honestly a really good point. Yeah,
that could be a good way of going about the riddle thing instead of just throwing it out there, cold open.
I think as soon as you said, "Tell us a riddle," Kevin, myself, and Lockie all just went, "Fuck, we aren't good at this." Were you just vibe checking that, or like were you just taking an answer that you thought was good in that case, or did you kind of did you actually have to not know it or something like that?
Am I allowed to answer this as from the perspective of DM? I don't know.
I mean, is
This
it going
might
to
be.
affect
Remember
our
that
campaign?
time where I told Kevin something that was immersion breaking, and now he's lost some faith in my DMing skills.
You want to talk about immersion breaking? Fucking, can I drop a bomb?
Oh, hey, wait, hold on. Let's finish this one first. Let's finish this one first.
Okay, remember that bomb though. Remember
Oh,
it.
that
Try to
bomb
remember
would
it.
not
Okay?
leave my
Don't forget
head.
it.
I guess I should answer this. It was more of a vibe check thing. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Like if someone actually told me a riddle I wouldn't know, and that'd probably be a pass as well. Because I mean, Aiden's riddle came after you guys were already satisfied the Sphinx's curiosity. Should we describe context here?
Should we do a
It's a
quick
bit late.
recap
Should we
up to where
describe
we are?
context? I'll do a speedrun recap.
Do you want me to run a speedrun recap, or do you want to do it?
Ooh, all right, guest. You run the speedrun recap. Let's go.
Okay. Alright, so we kicked off the session on the Acheron, the big boat, waiting to catch up with Ravrum and to get the half of the Oathbreaker and to collect Eliwick so we could go to the dig site.
Yep.
We did that. I don't think much happened. We got some exposition on Ravenar with his brother. We kept pushing Maple and Eliwick together pretty much the entire session. Storm changed out of his big homeless clothes into like a samurai outfit, which I'm very happy about. And then we cracked on to with Snow holding onto the half of the Oathbreaker. We jumped on the boat and started traveling to the mines of Dawnhelm to get like the other half. We went there. There was a dig site with a village of people there. We kind of found out some information, got the keys, cracked into it, traveled through the dig site and through the ruins, the caverns, and got to a massive room with a big golden archway and two giant dwarven statues. And there was a sphinx on top of one of them. Dropped down, started circling us, and is like, "Why are you here? Are you worthy of getting the Oathbreaker? What are you doing here?" And I'm going to slow down. We don't speed run now. We can slow it down. So then the response on my part, I think we took, Snow started, I took over, was, "We aren't here for riches and glory. We're here to help people. And that's why we're better than the other people you've had to kill," basically. And then afterwards, she's like, "I don't want to fight you, whatever. So tell me a riddle. Tell me a riddle I don't know."
Yeah, I guess that's a pretty damn good recap. You saying that reminded me of a few things. I just want to say that I really enjoyed role playing as Ravrum and doing the brotherly things. That was fun. That was fun, and then the Eliwick stuff. I don't know. Real quick aside. Do you think the Eliwick X Maple joke is getting overused? Do you think it's getting put into the ground like we're beating a dead horse?
I still find it quite funny. However, I did say to him, if he doesn't enjoy it, tell us and we'll back off, like in terms of the game and stuff. But I still think it's funny.
Kevin? Yeah, maybe we are reaching that point. He did say like it made him uncomfortable, but don't stop doing it. But I think he might be too afraid to just tell us to stop. So, hey, Maple, make up your mind. You want to stop? Tell us. You tell us.
Get in the comments.
You get it going.
I think it's funny in the fact of like, I don't think it's worth bringing up every time, like the way Aiden's bringing it up of just like, "Hey, do you think those guys look like a couple?" And like, there's no comedic value to that, you know. But I think the way that I did it in the session was very funny, and kind of in character
Yeah,
you know?
the prankster, get them together and then slip away unnoticed.
Yeah,
type
that was
deal.
like an in-character thing, whereas like Ravana being intuitive about the two of them, obviously that's a meta joke for us rather than an
And
in-character
in
thing,
character.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, there is a difference there. There is a tangible difference there. I agree with that. Okay. I kind of agree with Lachlan here. Because I think Lachlan, he takes the role-playing, I want to say, a little more serious than you guys. Like he really tries to get into character, and he tries to think of what Maple would do in that situation. And I just maybe for him, this is me reaching. I don't know if he really thinks it, but maybe for Maple doesn't actually see Eliwick as this potential love partner or whatnot. So it just doesn't make sense for him RP wise to even go in that direction, or people to even joke about that. But who knows? We'll have to get him on the podcast, you know.
You got to find out. I think it's that case of like, but in real life, if your friends are pushing you to try and ask someone out, you just kind of you push back at it. You say no, and you know, if we need to back off in meta style, if he says, "Hey, this is like I don't enjoy it," then obviously we'll stop. But if in character he kicks back and uses it as a character moment to like put some spine into it, almost. You know,
Ooh,
that might be a better approach to it.
Yeah, pretty cool as well.
Ooh,
Yeah.
is this another bomb? Is this another bomb? You're saying Maple's spineless?
No, I really like how Maple plays his character, but there has to be character development.
That was a stealth bomb.
Stealth bomb.
Stealth bomb.
We really are the US.
That stealth bomb.
I like how he plays his character because I really enjoy it as something to bounce off of, because Storm is such a big character that having someone who is like very nervous, almost the opposite of Storm in some cases, is really fun to play off of. But there's got to be character development. There's got to be movement, because otherwise it gets boring for the player, and it gets boring. Like it doesn't make sense because you're always going to change as a person.
I would like to see more Storm Maple interactions. I feel like that's one of the pairs that don't get a lot of light.
I love it,
because obviously there are some party members that kind of gravitate towards each other. Like Storm naturally has a very I want to say attractive personality, or he clings on to like certain people. So there was like Storm Tokul, Storm Ryan, that sort of thing, and now probably Storm Ravana, since they've got a bit of alone time together. You know, and then you have like, you know, Snow Tokul. There's like this weird kind of big brother little brother dynamic going there, and you know, Snow and Maple are like basically cousins or something like that. But like, yeah, you don't get to see much of like Storm Maple, or you know,
Tokul
say
Maple.
Ryan,
I think
he's
it's
no
even
longer here.
less.
Tokul Maple, or like Tokul anyone else, you know what I mean?
The RP I get with Maple I really enjoy, because Lockie's quite a fun player to play with and bounce off of, because he has great ideas, but the way he delivers it is both in character and just comedically quite good. So it's always fun to play off of him.
But yeah, that's probably attributed to you, Lewis, as being a quite proactive player, and Lachlan being less so, more of a shy player. So
yeah,
hey, maybe just have Snow run up to him and like proposition him for like anything.
I think it's bustling in, but I think when I make choices as Snow, I'm Snow. Hey. Storm. I just did what Bert does. When I make decisions
what
as
everyone
Storm,
does.
I gravitate just towards the thing I think is going to be the most fun, and I think that's what Aiden or Ryan was jumping onto at the same time, because like I quite enjoy just doing the silliest things, because my character's kind of built around that, and as much as it gets me into trouble, I enjoy it quite a lot in terms of the game.
Yeah, there was an observation that I made when you guys, you and Ravana jumped off the staircase thing, right? The impatience thing. It sounded like Maple really wanted to jump down, you know? And we gave, you know, Snow said to him, hey, we're not stopping you if you want to jump down. It seemed like he really wanted to jump down and join the fun, but, you know, there's something within him was keeping him from making that decision. So, hey, Maple, if you want to do some
can I break out
wacky stuff, go and do it.
Can Maple Storm be the new Storm Tokul combo?
Who knows?
Maybe you're replacing Tokul.
Tokul's already been
Tokul's still
replaced.
alive.
Tokul, the fun Tokul I once knew and loved doesn't exist anymore. I've got this paladin who, you know.
You think he's a bit of a square?
Yeah, it's like going out for drinks with an accountant. You know, it's a bit different.
Got to do accountants like that. I don't know,
No, he's graduated from college and got himself a real job.
Yeah,
he got no time.
Got serious.
I don't know if Maple wanting to jump down was more Lachlan just getting impatient and wanting the narrative to move faster, or just Maple just wanting to do something crazy. I don't know. I have the feeling it was the former rather than the latter, but who knows? Because
I feel like it was more the latter. I felt like maybe he wanted to like do something crazy for once, but you know, it's that thing where like maybe he felt trapped within his own character trope, where like Maple wouldn't do that. Like he's more, you know, calculating and thinks through things. He doesn't do things very impulsively, so maybe that was something that was keeping him back. You know,
maybe. All right, we have reached the moment in which the president is giving the permission to drop the nuclear bombs on the enemy country. What is it you want to say, Lewis?
My guys, talk about immersion breaking before, you know, and you know, the fucking last episode, Kevin made a comment. Albert, what did he say to you that makes you rethink every sentence you say? What did he say?
Kind of.
I had no problem with it. I still don't have a problem with it. However, when you're in the middle of describing somewhere and you say, this is not a criticism, Albert, this is not a criticism of you, this is a criticism of Kevin. When you say, like, you walk into the large cavern and you see a large dwarven statue that's kind of 35 feet tall, that is not brain jarring. But when you say you see the large dwarven statue that's kind of, I just said it, there it is 35 foot tall, that ruins it. I reckon just do what's natural and don't even think about it, because your talent as a DM isn't in the fact that you don't say kind of. Your talent as a DM is in the fact that you tell a compelling story, and that's what's important. That's my bomb.
Anything to say, defendant?
No, it still bothers me that he says kind of every sentence. So it might not bother you, but it bothers me.
It's rare I get bomb defendant.
Him saying kind of every sentence like is distracting from the thing. You might not have a problem with it, but hey, that's you. I'm not you, so I can't say what you say and agree with you. So I'm glad that he is making an effort to change that on my advice. He didn't have to do that, but I'm glad he is, and I appreciate that. And if you've got a problem with that, well, there's nothing I can do about it. Go speak to my lawyer, all right? No more questions.
We're going to litigate this problem out. Albert, do you have a problem with the fact you say kind of? Because I know some people like to try and tighten up their speech a little bit, right? And it's, you know, just to improve overall in life, not just how you DM, but just standard life. Is that something you're working on, or is it like...
It's a process, right?
Yeah.
See, the first thing to resolve a problem is that you have to identify it, right? You have to know it exists. And now that I have been made aware of some shortcomings in my storytelling, I feel as if I need to correct them. And after a while, I think maybe a few sessions, I think it'll go away. I think that kind of will just disappear from my vocabulary. I think even now, actually, I don't know. Do you think there was less kind of in that one? Because you say every sentence, but I definitely
there was far less. It happened like two times.
There was a lot less. I think like the first quarter of the session, you didn't notice you were saying it, but then you like kind of picked up. Then you picked up on it halfway through, and it improved. Lewis, I think maybe it's a little too early to start complaining. You know, he's tightening up the screws. Okay, so maybe I'll drop a bomb back at you. Okay, maybe you stop complaining so fucking
All I'm
much.
saying,
okay, leave the complaining to me and Albert. Okay, we run this podcast.
I've never been annoyed listening to this podcast apart from last week, where whenever Albert said kind of, he said fuck afterwards, and it happened like 20 times towards the end of the podcast.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? It's a process. It's a process. Once I get used to it, it'll go away, and then we can all forget about this nightmare.
The kind of nightmare.
The kind of nightmare we're living in. I think in some circumstances, kind of is the correct word to use. Like,
Yes,
the
in some
statue was
context,
kind
yes,
of
yeah.
35 feet tall. It's not 35 feet tall. It's like, it's around 35 feet. It's kind of 35 feet.
It's about there, yeah.
It's just that I don't want to use around. Let me use kind of sometimes. Who knows? But I don't know if it's bothering you that much. Hopefully, either I just go back to using it, or I'll stomp it out in a few sessions.
I just wanted you to be aware that, you know, there's more opinions, and there's you've got both sides of the coin. If you didn't change a thing, I wouldn't have minded.
Don't listen. He's wrong. He's wrong.
If you want to make the change,
His opinion's
that's
wrong.
your prerogative.
You only listen to me, okay? I'm your other half.
You see,
Are we on his shoulders right now?
the comment section is where we should voice these opinions. You know,
Yeah.
put it in the comments, put it in the Discord.
I want everyone
Tell us,
to know.
tell us, let us know, let the world know. Oh, that was kind of a big bomb. Yeah, fuck you, Kevin. Yeah, you piece of shit.
No. Fuck all of you. Fuck all of you.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
fuck Kevin moment. There we go. The big.
Hey, this is not the
it's
Civil
a
War
bit
arc
of a
of the
fuck Kevin.
podcast,
It's a
okay?
bit
We're
of
not
a
having
Kevin
the Civil
moment.
War here, okay? Hey, I don't care if you two are both gang up me. I'll fight both of you, okay? I don't give a shit, okay? Fuck you.
Yeah, Albert, did you have a problem with how Snow was RP'd during the last session?
Snow RP'd last session?
Oh, fuck.
Actually, I have something to say. I don't think there was much RP from some, like Tokel didn't get much time to shine. I don't think Snow got that much time to shine either. I'm not just sure if that's because we're focusing more on Ravnar being the new addition that he's getting the limelight, the spotlight. But I think Tokel, this is a shout out for you. You should jump in there. You should get in there with the role play. Insert yourself, my boy. Or you can chill. I don't know. It's
I mean,
really
he
up
was
to you.
lying in his bed on mute the entire session. So that seems
Yeah, I thought he was
on
falling
him.
asleep because
That doesn't
he kept
seem on
cutting his
us.
video feed. I thought he legit was falling asleep. So I was like, hey, get back in here.
But I think Maple got a decent amount because of Eliwick. Like, I think it just forces conversation because he's the not just because of the meme, but like because he runs the boat and he is the most intelligent one of the party. So it kind of makes sense that they have that discussion, regardless of any romantic or whatever that is. And then of course Ravenar's going to get the limelight. I think he deserves it for the first probably 3 sessions that he's in.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's how
for sure. I
we
agree
that's
with
how we establish him. So I don't have a problem. I think I'm always going to get RP time just because that's how I play. I just
Yeah, I always think that engagement. Yes, you could engage. You could equate that for the player having fun. The more they engage, but sometimes like I know sometimes for Matt, he just enjoys just watching as well, not necessarily being proactive. And I'm not defending that he should. I'm not saying that he shouldn't jump in more often, because you should, Matt. You should. Okay, and don't forget Revivify. So. But yeah, that doesn't mean he's not having fun because he's not doing or saying anything,
Yeah, for sure.
definitely. Yeah, I think it's. I also during the session as me, I do try kind of pick out the points where it's like, oh damn, Tokel or Snow hasn't said much in a while, and at least try and offer the opportunity. Like, I feel like just naturally because I have a ridiculously high persuasion, I find myself doing a lot of the key story point talking. And sometimes I feel bad. Like, I know it's literally my character's job to do that, but like, I liked that Maple jumped in when talking to the Sphinx on that last bit. I really didn't want to jump in that section because I felt like I took over from Snow in the first bit and then ran with that, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. Give everybody a
Yeah.
chance to shine,
Yeah.
type deal.
And I feel like I've also had the last 3 sessions dedicated to me, pretty much. So that's 2,
Okay.
maybe.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I can kind of see that. So the main point is Tokel, get in there. Go role play.
I haven't even
Go-
heard
go-
him
go
try
to
and pray to his god and like sessions, bro. Like 4 or 5 sessions.
That's what I mean, right? That's the bomb I'm dropping, right? He ain't devoted to his guard.
When is he going to switch to
like
Oathbreaker?
Ravnar is. Well, he didn't even mention Angvir this time. Hey, Angvir, where you at? Where my homeboy?
He did try to pray to
Homeboy
Angvir over Radalak's body, but I did stop him.
That was last session.
Oh, that was 2 ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, this is the bomb drop episode. God damn.
We have some bombs. Let's drop
That's
another
a lot
bomb.
of bombs. Oh.
I think something that would probably help in that regards for like Tokul. Like he's always like, whenever he does engage with the Angvir's side of Tokul, I think because he's always saying I pray, but he never says what he actually prays. So maybe Matt, you can like write some prayers, like just things to say, like if there's someone dead you want to pray over, or like you want to pray for protection or something. You could probably even work with Albert, to like write some official prayers or something. Just give it some more flavor. Maybe that will spice things up a bit. Make that more a part of your character.
That's a good point.
I mean, even
If
a good
he wants to do
comparison.
that, I'm open to do that.
A good comparison is when Ravnar did the ritual at the bottom of the pit. Aiden actually described how he did it and what the actions were between me and him and all that kind of stuff in it. I think that it just adds a bit more, doesn't it? Just a bit more flavor to it.
Yeah, even if you're just making it up on the spot, which I think maybe Aiden was.
Yeah, for sure.
That's better than just saying I pray, or we sit down and do a ritual and then that's said and done, and then we move on to the next.
I think that goes to a lot of magic casters though. Like I've been thinking that as well. How I cast my magic compared to how Maple casts his is two very different things by the nature of the schools that we come from or the backgrounds we have. And I've been trying to mention that more. I just feel like it helps me. I like it. I don't know if anyone else cares, but like when I'm trying to use a concentration spell, I was talking about using the staff that I have and tapping on the ground rhythmically as like stuff like that. Obviously that's how bards cast is through the power of love.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All that.
But I think just including that kind of stuff, and like if you can cast fireball, reflavor it, like make it, describe how that fireball forms, and if it's like a spirit bomb thing or how it works. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I actually I absolutely agree with that. It just adds that extra oomph,
It does.
Gets everybody a little more invested, a little more immersed in the gameplay and the story.
And it breaks it up as well. If I cast, let's say the three of us all have the Longstrider spell, four of us even now. A cleric, a paladin, is he a mage or a wizard? What is he? Sorcerer?
Who?
Maple.
He's a wizard.
Wizard, sorry.
He's a wizard,
and a bard. The way the four of us would cast Longstrider is completely different because we were all taught differently. The product of the spell is the same, but maybe Storm would whistle a tune. On lower level spells it's a simple whistle, and for a wizard it's reading from a tome, the more classic style, and for a paladin it's like some kind of prayer-esque thing because he's channeling divinity, and for a cleric I guess it's a similar sort of aspect as a paladin. So I think for me, breaking it up like that and adding those little elements makes it so much more interesting as a way to break it up, because
as much as adding flavor adds to the world and to the character, there is also like, you don't want to do that every time you cast a spell, because that ends up just kind of bogging things down if everyone's describing specifically how they cast their spell in their own way, like maybe for like big moments and stuff like that, or like if you can afford to do so concisely, that's fine.
I agree actually. Take it with a grain of salt, not all the time, not 100% on, but yeah, if you're in a big moment where if Maple's about to cast fireball on a guy and we're pretty sure it's going to take it down, describe the hell out of it,
But Maple does have some really good description.
He
You
does.
remember when we were in the arena and he like scraped up the shadow sword, and everyone was like, "Oh, the shadow sword," and that's how he got the
Yeah,
name.
and that's the thing. But like as players, we were like, It's not a criticism of him. It's more just a comment on like this is what I enjoy, and it's like even as players when he was describing how he scrapes up the sword or whatever, that to us was like, oh, that's dope. That's cool as hell, and it just it reminds you. It keeps those moments memorable.
Yeah,
It's contextual, right? Like you can't do it every single time, but there are moments where you're just like this is the time, like maybe at the start of the battle or at the end of the battle, or like you're killing like one of the big minions in a battle, like that's a pretty damn good time to describe what you're doing, or just when you're using a big spell in general. But yeah, describing every small spell and how you cast it, not that I don't enjoy it, it's just that the clock doesn't enjoy it. It just takes
Yes,
it takes a lot more
exactly.
time.
But like even in my head, just when I was theater of the minding the encounter with the Sphinx, Storm was in the middle of a concentration spell with that giant statue with the animate objects, and he was continuously tapping his staff, like tap, tap, tap at intervals like that, and that was echoing throughout the cavern. And so the Sphinx was stalking, and this tapping was continuing while they were talking. And then when Storm jumped in to try and convince the Sphinx, the tapping stopped. And like I don't know, that kind of stuff for me, and that's kind of just in my brain, but I think it just adds a little bit when you have those slight descriptors. Like if Ravenar, what type of cleric is he? He's a storm one.
He's a storm cleric. Yes.
Like if he casts, and let's say he's got a concentration
Tempest
spell going, and he's got like says there's like lightning kind of sparking off the ends of his feathers just lightly, like stuff like little descriptors like that just add so much to a scene.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Okay. Yeah, it's a good thing to note, but use it sparingly in the good moments.
Yeah, I mean, players, get in the comments. Tell us what you think about describing your spells and kind of flavoring them up.
I have a question. This is your chance to drop bombs on me. How do you guys think the Sphinx encounter went? Just like from the start of it to like describing how it was invisible and how Snow noticed the light like waving differently and stuff like that. Was that good? Was it too much? Was it not enough? What were the problems? What do you like about it? Go.
you want to start?
You take it,
shall I
Kevin. You
start?
go.
I think the lead up to it was cool, but I think it tonally didn't match with what the encounter was about. So it was like a riddle challenge, right? The Sphinx, like the way you described it was like this black shape atop the big statue, watching us from below. And that's got a very like ominous, foreboding kind of thing going for it, and you'd think that like something's going to jump out and attack us. But it turns out, well, it did jump out, but it didn't attack us, and then it started asking us riddles. So like that was very kind of incongruent with like what you were going for the encounter, right?
Okay.
And I think the actual encounter itself, for riddle encounter, yeah, it did kind of break the flow of the campaign because everyone was like, oh, let's Google the riddles and all this stuff, and it kind of fell apart there. But I think, yeah, of course, maybe that could have been set up better. There are other ways to set up that sort of encounter without having people referring to like meta knowledge or stuff that their characters should know, or relying on their real world knowledge, which some people may be lacking, like me. Like I'm not good at riddles. So those are my 2 cents.
Okay. I agree with you in that it was very, what's the word used, incongruent. The thematics just didn't kind of match the tonality. Honestly, I didn't really know what I was going for at that point either, because I knew what I wanted the end result to be, but I just like, the start was like, oh, it's gonna be invisible, blah blah blah. I didn't really
I thought
the...
that part was cool. Like I thought like you setting it up like that was like cool, because like I was like, oh, wait, what is this thing? This is big ominous thing that's watching us.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And there's like a bit of setup with the miners and whatnot, the four-legged winged beast with the face of a kind of human thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Notes for next time. Keep it within theme, or at least set it up better. Any other comments, Mr. Lewis?
I was expecting like a mini boss fight. As soon as we walked in there and it was dark and like there was some shimmery thing, I was like, all right, we're gonna have to fight something. I was really expecting something that was like an aboleth, what's it called, an aberrant beast or something. I don't know why. When you were like talking about it being like dark and invisible and shimmery, I was like, oh, it's gonna be some weird shit we're gonna have to fight.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be some like Lovecraft
I can see how you guys thought that. Yeah.
And so I thought some like tentacle Cthulhu thing was gonna drop down and we'd have to fight it. That's why I animated the statue and like I was like prepared.
Yeah, when he did it, I was like, "Oh man, this man's aggressive." Like, damn.
I that's what I thought it was, and that's why I was so aggressive.
The general vibe, yeah.
And that's why I was like, usually Storm isn't necessarily the first to try and take the strike immediately, but I was like, nah, I'm not messing with this. But also, I think that's due to the fact that we had those visions, and I'm like, there's got to be some kind of demon thing or whatever the fuck in here. So maybe that's also influencing me.
Yeah, I think the setup. Sorry to cut you off. But I think the setup for the whole situation was like very Lovecraftian. Now that we mention it here, because you had like the village and like the guy going in as a 20-year-old and he's coming out as a 70-year-old, and there's some sort of weird power that like ages people like really fast.
The old man led us into the thing.
Yeah,
even
the old man with his
with
like
keys.
a bazillion keys and that sort of thing. Like the village had like a really like creepy ish atmosphere about it. And we go in and there's the black shimmering thing watching us, and it's standing atop these ancient stone statues guarding the gateway to the old the old dwarvish kingdom that has been abandoned for a millennia at least.
I thought we were going to find out that Dornhelm had been taken by other realm creatures in terms of like like Cthulhu style stuff. But I think the encounter was fun. I'm not a riddles guy, so like with or without that, it would have been fine. I liked the thought process we had of like, I started off thinking combat, and then I went, oh no, they're trying to check if we're good of heart, that kind of thing. I quite enjoy that we have the option to fight stuff, and it was very obvious we had the option. I feel like sometimes when creating encounters, as like if I create an encounter, you don't think about that as like, should there be an option here, or is this just you have to kill it? And I quite like that we could barter almost with it. Would you have let us use the what's in my pocket riddle?
I don't know where that's from.
The Hobbit. That's how Bilbo got the ring off of Gollum. They played riddles. It was very Hobbit-esque as well.
They did like a riddle off, and they were going back and forth, and then Bilbo's like, "What's in my pocket?" And Smeagol kind of freaked out.
Yeah, because it's like there's no answer. It's just like whatever the fuck he's got.
Would have I let it fly? Probably. I don't know. You guys didn't do it, so I don't know what would have happened.
I felt immersion breaking if I had done it.
I mean, for me, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I don't know where this is from, so I'm like, oh, it must be OG, but I guess not. Yeah, I guess I should be much more mindful of the tone I'm setting, because I didn't realize it was the creepy vibes, but I guess so. And honestly, I think the at least on my half, the interaction was pretty kind of half-assed, because it is testing for whether you're worthy, or perhaps not good of heart, but worthy to wield the Oathbreaker to unlock its powers and unleash them upon the world.
Yeah.
And I really should have leaned in to the second half of it, where the Gynosphinx asks
Sivgus.
So what do you plan to do with it afterwards?
Yeah, you let that slide, and I was surprised.
It's a question to think about for sure. I think for me it was just more of a reminder, like, yo, even if you get this thing, you still have like a problem to deal with afterwards. Like there's gonna be some shit.
That has had the desired effect, because after that I was like, actually, you're right. What's the knock-on effect of us leaving this? Like, we're essentially guilty for whatever happens. and also we also don't have a choice. So it's almost like we're complicit and guilty, but we don't have a choice now. We've signed a contract, and there's no way that we're getting out of it. Almost.
Yeah, it's a bit of a moral dilemma,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you give it to him, you are now complicit in whatever crimes that man commits with the Oathbreaker.
Yeah, I'm sure he's up to good things with the sword.
It's not
He's gonna go.
It's not going to be
raise
on
an
our
orphanage.
continent. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's an in-character moral dilemma.
It is, and I think you have.
Would your characters care about it? I don't know.
You've raised that in Storm for sure. I can say that. I don't know, obviously, about the
That's good.
others.
It's good.
But yeah, I was surprised you lifted on that as quick as you did. I was like, as soon as you said it, I was like, "Fuck, he's got me!" Like I was doing the mental athletics to try and figure out a way around it. Yeah. But
Yeah, maybe I should have nailed in more on that. We'll see what happens.
that's fine. And then we did the riddle, and when we got past, like, you played the Sphinx well. It's like, yeah, you seem alright. Let's fucking go. Off you go, boys. Like,
Good luck. Have fun.
yeah. It's just, yeah, the scale of this place is huge as well, which is kind of wild. So, just as the descriptions go and continue, I think it's going to be important for you to describe how big everything is, or how extravagant it is, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm very excited to when you guys step into the actual thing I've been working on. Speaking on that, actually, first, I think you're on the money where I wanted to describe how deep you guys are actually going down, like how far you guys are actually going down into the earth. And honestly, 90 seconds was kind of something I pulled out of my ass. I was like, 90 seconds, that sounds like...
Were you annoyed that I did the maths?
Yeah, we did the math, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a very long time. We good.
I did the maths. It's 2.5 kilometers directly down.
Yeah, that's
a
deep,
distance. Yeah.
deep water. Yeah. On that, this is what my discussion point was. Earlier, 2 weeks ago, I asked, I'm going to quote this verbatim. Your question: would you guys dig a larger dungeon that spans more than a whole session? ? And you, Lewis, replied, like, if it was a single path that goes between combat and puzzle until we burn our spell slots and cry, then it probs won't be good.
Yeah.
Is that the feeling you guys get from most of my dungeons?
And I stand by it, Albert.
I kind of agree. Yeah. Kevin.
Yeah, I
Hold
think.
on. Do you think the same thing?
Kevin had a very similar response to me, I think, as well. I think. Sorry, Kevin. I'll speak. I've got this. I think dungeons are what they are. You know, it's hard to make an interesting one without a lot of work. And so I expect there to be some dungeons that are within one session. So let's just say 70% of a session is a dungeon, and I expect to go in with my spell slots, do a bunch of bullshit, and come out with a key item or a new cool thing, and have no spell slots and barely any health, and then I have to go rest. That's a part of an RPG, no matter what you do. And I like that it's there, because it's a comfortable way to approach a combat scenario in a contained space. But if we're going to do multiple sessions, I'm going to hate it after the first session if there's not the variety there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, Kevin.
Yeah, whenever I answered that question that you posted to us 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, you
said,
did. Yeah.
When I think of dungeons, I think combat, one after another, right? And that didn't seem like a lot of fun. And unless you put a lot of work into a dungeon, like mapping it out, branching paths and stuff like that, and you have all these bits and little details, sewn into the dungeon, they tend to be quite linear. Like, and I'm not saying you do this specifically. Maybe you do. I haven't noticed. But like most dungeons, when you think about it, they usually are quite linear. Like they go in one path, and that may be because like you don't want players to get lost, or you don't want it to take up too much time, right? Like sometimes you just want a dungeon to be nice and easy. So you just go through, here's a trap, here's an encounter, here's a puzzle, there's the treasure. And you just go all the way back. And, something about that just kind of seems a bit one-dimensional to me. unless like you were to put a lot of work in. But there's downsides to, you know, putting a lot of work in and mapping it out and having all these branching paths and whatnot, because like, you know, players will run into a dead end and then like they might actually get lost and don't know what to do. You know, it's like when you run into a dungeon in Skyrim and you like, it all looks the same and you don't know where to go and you forget where you came from and you're running around in circles for like 40 minutes. You know, it could be like that. So yeah, maybe that's just my own perception of what a dungeon is that's kind of making me think this way.
Okay. I'm curious as to whether you guys would be interested in I'm not sure if classic is the right word to use here, but the like the kind of dungeon crawl where there is like a literal map and you guys like draw it out and you guys map out the rooms and like the branches and the paths and there's dead ends and whatnot. Would that be something you guys are interested in, or would it just be something that just seems like it's a time consumer? It would just use too much time. It wouldn't be that interesting.
It sounds fun if you consider it the same as what's the board game? The Haunted House one?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
kind of
like
that,
as
where
like
you explore
every room
rooms.
we go through, we'll be drawing it out because we'll be discovering it, and events will happen in rooms and stuff like that. That's a cool approach to it because it's a cool board game. So if you take the similar concept, it's going to work.
I'd have to try it in order.
Oh, of course.
To form a
I think for the
proper
first
opinion
time
on
you do it, it's going to be fun, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Haunted House on the Hill is not my favorite board game. So
I think it might be mine.
Maybe
so.
you'll enjoy it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll hate it. So.
I've realised Kevin and I have
try
very
it.
differing opinions on
Different strokes.
Yeah. The
I don't know. I think
sorry.
the best solution, and this is what I've been doing so far for at least this dungeon, is to not look at it as like a separate dimension where it is like a video game dungeon where you go in, you fight a bunch of shit, you get loot, you come out, kind of deal. Instead, you look at it as a living ecosystem with monsters that live there that aren't just there to fight you. They have their own agendas. They live in their own little habitats, and sometimes the monsters will be fighting each other, and you guys just don't have to be a part of that kind of thing. Like it's not a dungeon at that. I mean, at that point, it's not really a dungeon. It's more just a setting. And that's what I'm going for this time, and I'm curious to see whether this is more up your guys' alley, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think in that chat I also said if you took the dungeon approach but put like a hub city underground in the middle of it, that'd be cool. So I'm keen for that approach. If it's an established setting, as you said, with factions fighting, and all right, we saw the GIF in there as the session ended, so I can imagine what factions are fighting, or what is probably going to be the main bad guy down there.
Maybe.
Which I'm excited for because it's new, both for in character and as a person. I didn't really read much of the GIF apart from what we read together yesterday because I want it to be fresh.
They are very cool. I'll say that much.
And so, if that's the case, I'm keen to try it. And I think keeping an open mind, I will try anything for a session because I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing because I'm playing D&D with my friends. But if we're trying this new dungeon thing for a session and you do a check-in and say, hey, what's the vibe? What do I need to adjust? That's probably the best approach for it.
Yeah, the vibe check. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
It's got to happen. It's part of the story. Certain parts of the story we don't like. I'm sure it would suck as an adventurer having to go down into some shitty old city and having to fight your way through things. So I don't know. There's got to be some way you can relate the experience, right?
Yeah, into a digestible D&D format. I hope so. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I have something. I don't know. I really like the setting, but I find very often that the things I like don't necessarily align with the things the players are interested in. Like I really like some of the settings I create, but you guys are just like, yeah, let's go fight something, let's talk to some people kind of thing. But I guess it's just different strokes.
What's an example of that?
Like you were saying.
Is it Weird Water? Was it Weird Water?
Weird Water's kind of one of them.
I liked Weird Water.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for, I guess, DMs, right? And like world building isn't. It's only one part of DMing, and like I don't really expect players to be fully invested or interested in the places I create. It's more just something that happens throughout the story, and that if it happens, it happens, right? Like if you guys go to Huria will be a place naturally you're going to be interested in. You'll want to explore that. But like just because I put a cool place on the map on the map doesn't mean you guys want to go there, kind of deal. But
Yeah.
I think it's
that's just how it is.
Speaking of setting, so you said you reckon we have quite a few sessions before we're done in the old Al-Hadaran sands or deserts.
Yes, I would say so.
So, but when you say like, but how long do you reckon we'll be attached to Huria? Do you reckon once we have the Oathbreaker and that's this kind of like, well, I'd say mini arc where we're in Dawnhelm and then go to Zagramar and stuff. Once that mini arc is done, then Huria's kind of done. I
think Huria at this point is mostly already done.
Yeah, cool.
Because unless you guys actually plan to do something with the tokens and stuff,
that's the only thing tying.
Obviously, there's going to be some repercussions, but like other than that, there really isn't that much left for you guys there, unless you feel like you need to explore it or there's some, like loose ends you want to tie up there or something like that.
I think that's the last loose end besides the Oathbreaker. We have to get rid of those tokens somehow.
Unless you just want to keep me as a prime, and every 4 years I have to just travel back to Huria.
You're like, hey guys,
I'm back.
All right.
Just stick them in. Yeah. I think. Yeah, I'm just curious because like when you first said more sessions, I was like, fuck, I don't want to be in Huria for longer. Not because I don't look like Huria, but I'm keen to see more of the world now. And even like this session when we heard about those guys in their village, I was so excited to learn more about them. It's just, I think
new people.
I'm really keen just to eat up some information about more people, new people, more of the world. I think about like, I can't even remember his name now. Our green dragonborn slave that we saved, Hevroth. Yeah. And how we gave him to the family of Igmar. Thank you. And like that was so long ago, and I'm like, man, I really wanted to. I want to see Hevroth and that family, and I want to check in with them, and I want to
see what's popping.
Yeah, like there's so much stuff I want to do, but it's you give like there's just stages, and you think about it. And they're over near the Ivory Vale, so it's going to be a while, but there's stuff like... I just want to ingest more information about the world as my character now. Especially...
Well, here's a thing I think we align with, because I'm the same way, right? I want to move on from Huria, not because I hate Huria, because I want to see the new stuff. I want to see, the port
Fantasy
town where
China.
all the cultures, converge. And yeah, eventually I want to see some other continents like Fantasy China or Kesari or whatever. So yeah, I'm kind of thirsty for that world building juice. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm also sorry. Yeah, you go.
No, you go.
So I'm also interested to know where the story goes, because our entire story and arc has revolved around our oaths, our elected marks. If we get rid of them, big thing being if. What happens then?
That's a good point.
Yeah, what's the central tension
Lachlan mentioned at the start of the last session, before everyone joined, we were talking about it. He was talking about how he wants to go see the big black bubble that's surrounding the capital. And I think, at least for him, that's kind of the next step in your journey once you break yourselves free of the oaths, to finally confront Hesseldane, see what's going on, see what's popping. At least for me, that's where I see the story going. I'm not sure if that's actually where it's going to go, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
As much as that, like, I want that to happen, for the narrative sake, so we can move forward. It involves us going back to Denethor and retracing our steps, and I want to see the new shit. I don't want to go back to Denethor.
The thing with high level characters is that they can just fucking teleport everywhere. So there will be some
We're
kind of
almost
shortcut
there
if that happens.
because Maple's got the circle. We just need to get the waypoints.
He just needs the waypoint,
Yeah.
and there are people who do know the waypoint to the capital.
So we can travel a lot faster. I was thinking after the Al-Hadaran arc and we get rid of the marks. I don't know if I would retire Storm, but I think I would want to take a break from him and try a new character for a bit. And whether it's introduced as like someone who wants to become a hired mercenary, and like you guys accept him as an internship, like something is easy to integrate in, and it may not be permanent, but I think Storm's definitely got the backing that he would want to check that his town is safe after everything that's happened.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
So
he gets a bit of a break.
yeah, and look, more because like everyone else, this is my first character I've made, but that was session 62 and I joined was it 19 I joined?
It was like 1920, yeah.
So, I've got 42, 43 sessions under my belt like as this one character, and I'm kind of thinking he's had his arc. He's done a little arc and he's moving on to the path of righteousness. And where does that arc go? Maybe it's time. And I've suggested a couple characters to Albert that I kind of want to play. And my current one, my most recent one, I think is quite fun, and I think you agree. Quite cool little thing.
The concept.
Yeah,
I like
and
it.
it makes sense if we're going to Danathar for that character to be around. Yeah. So, like, it would be a perfect time for it. But yeah, I just want to try something new, and the classes I'm going for aren't anything more complicated. I was considering doing like what do they call it, a blood hunter?
The
Matt Mercer one.
Yeah.
I was considering asking you about that because they kind of look cool, but I've just realised that there's a lot more to life than being a jack of all trades bard that caps at like level 16.
That's fair enough. I mean, you have been playing that class for the last 40 sessions. Like everyone else has had a class change at some point or a character change.
True.
So yeah, I don't blame you for wanting to mix it up, and that's completely fine. I would like to see him return at some point because I do think there's some unfinished business, especially between him and his brother.
I was hoping that would all be Al-Hadaran
tied
arced,
up. Yeah.
That definitely needs to be solved before I could shelf Storm for a little bit.
Okay. All right. I can see that happening.
Like
actually.
it might even be a case that once that's wrapped up, Storm would disappear for like 5 sessions, and I'll just bring someone in just to play as a relief almost.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's
if you like him a lot, then maybe you can just
100%
shift him in permanently.
And I don't think that's a bad approach to it, because I've been thinking recently, it's like I don't want to get rid of the character. I really enjoy playing Storm, but I want to try something new within the setting of our serious, like our big campaign. So how do you do that? And it's kind of I think I'm getting there in terms of the ideas. Then we need to have a chat.
Yeah, I think we've already done it rather successfully with Ryan and his departure and Ravenar's introduction. I think it's definitely doable. So yeah, if you want to do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. There's definitely what do you reckon? 10 to 15 more sessions of Al-Hadara?
Well, let me think about this real quick. Yeah, I'd say 10 to 15. 10 to 15 is a good estimate, I think.
Yeah, so around session 75 to 80 is when I'll need to start making those decisions. So
yeah, we'll start thinking about it.
I'll probably build out a character sheet for it and then think about it a bit later.
Speaking of Storm, sorry, Kevin, did you want to say something?
Yeah, do you feel like you've refined how to play D&D, Lewis, since Storm? You feel like you've kind of smoothing out the kinks?
Yeah, I joked when in the Discord after the last podcast, we were talking about the accent, and I said he'll settle into it, but I also kind of put a bit of a warning label on it. It's like it's really hard to do genuine emotional RP when you're gabagooling around the place, And I think I have played enough D&D now to understand how to play a character and how to work with a group of people in building a story, that there's like tweaks that I need to do to optimize, or not to enjoy my experience more, because I enjoy what Storm does, but maybe I just need a new motivation. I'm not an edgelord player kind of guy. I don't generally do that, but just someone with a little bit more edge. And Storm doesn't have much like Ravenar and Maple, but when I was first playing, I was like, man, Storm's such a normal guy, and I've got Snow, who's like some secret assassin, and Tokel, who's like a king who's been like excommunicated from the throne, and like all this stuff. And I was like, man, I'm just a guy, but I think I want a little bit more of a purpose on a holistic level for my character, which I didn't build into Storm, because Storm I kept very broad on purpose to make it a bit easier.
Yeah, to be fair, it is fun playing just the guy that happens to be caught up between all these rare unicorn people. I do agree that at some point you do want to be the unicorn man who is the lost king of X territory.
And look, the character that I brought to you is sorry, Kevin, I know it's very broad, but the character I brought to you is a cool concept. It's a simple character, and it doesn't make him the unicorn, but it makes him part of a unicorn thing, I think, is the way I've approached it.
Yeah, he'll fit in just better with the rest of the party.
Let's call it a unicorn purpose, not a unicorn character.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
So the inevitable integration of that character's requirements or arc is interesting and compelling to all players, and I think that needs to be a consideration. Like, the only reason that we would help Tokel with the throne is because we're now like blood brothers, but before Storm couldn't have cared less if Tokel sat on that throne or not, you know, and because it seems like selfish gain. But Snow's problem is like emotional distress, and that's much more personal and deep, and that's something that would be interesting to help with. So it's weird. It's like, where do you find the compelling arcs off the bat, rather than something that needs to be developed by your characters essentially becoming family?
Yeah, it's just character development.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Snow is my first character, and he wasn't perfect. Like, I know he's the staple child for when, you know, anyone in our group refers to an edgy character. He's, you know, maximum edge.
Your sword makes you go insane.
He's brooding in a corner somewhere.
I somewhat agree. Yes, he was very edgy when I first started playing him, but when I started smoothing him out, and you know, I mentioned to Albert a couple of times, you know, like I can't play Snow the same way, like, because after we had this hiatus, up until like when you joined, right, Lewis? Like, I was playing very, 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 very edgy because I didn't know any other way to play him, right? Because I had pigeonholed myself into that. So I really started to think about like what the character was about, right? And I remember like before I even landed on the idea of Snow, like I had like some dude from like an assassin's guild or something, and I remember sending Albert like the first draft of the backstory, and it was terrible. And I remember hearing him going like, yeah. And I sent him the second draft. Oh, I sent him like a more refined draft, which would become Snow's story, and that was better, but it wasn't good, right? And then like after I had thought about like who Snow was and like what's his deal, you know, what is his plan, like what's his goal for this D&D campaign, and the more I thought of it, the more things started to open up. So like he's been, you know, he's been killed by his own brother because there was a civil war back home, and you know, he wants to go back there and try and fix things. Okay, why is he trying to fix things? Because, you know, there was a succession, there was a dispute over the succession, and he thinks that his cousin, the prince, should be the one that's, you know, ruling the place over there. But now the prince is like this evil dude. So now Snow is conflicted. So now that creates some like emotional distress within Snow. Like, okay, well, now what am I doing now? Like, well, what if the prince is this evil guy? Like, that just fucks everything up now. And like, who am I now? And that sort of thing kind of helped me develop Snow into a more three-dimensional character. And yes, I did try to make him less edgy, okay? So, like, I don't entirely agree that Snow's,
during
like,
Trident,
max edge.
it was noticeable how less edgy he was. Because that was the return.
Yeah, I'm very much more receptive to the more comedic or more lighthearted moments. You know, even Snow's getting in on, like, the Maple Eliwick thing. Like, not as directly, but, like, you know, on the staircase, or, like, you know, Snow nudged Token, was like, hey, let's walk a little bit faster while they have their alone time.
Snow's got the dad jokes, which is great. And that's what I like. And if you enjoy playing him like that, I enjoy it too. I think it's just a case of you've got to find your character, and it's not... I think I kept Storm as an open book, and we kind of figured out as I went. And luckily, I just did some dumb shit that kind of forced an arc on us. But yeah, it's I think the other thing I was actually I was talking to someone about yesterday, was we have a very unique situation in the fact that there is a homebrew world which was starting to be built 3.5 years ago, and
So 3 years ago. Just almost 3 years ago. Don't add numbers on that. Make it sound.
Are you sure it's 3? I thought it would be 3.5 now.
It will. Oh wait.
Yeah.
No, it would. It's 3 now because it's almost the end of July, and we started halfway through July 2018.
Okay, so 3 years ago, and they got started building then, and it's built by all players. It's not just the DM. And it has continued to be built on primarily by Hubert, but you know, even stuff like last session, I made up Muller's blackberry wine, and you know, and I'm going to write something. I'm going to write a page about the Mullers and their wines and how they grow and where they are in the continent and how they distribute. Because I think like down to small details like that is what makes what we have so unique, and like that could then become a story arc, or that could be origin place of a character, or that could be whatever it is. And because we have this such a great understanding of a lot of our world, we can integrate ourselves so much better, and it's just insane. Like, we could create a starter pack for anyone who wanted to join the campaign, you know, like, this is what you need to know about the world, these are the places, these are the details, and like an onboarding pack as if you're a new employee. And I just like, that's awesome, and there's not many people that get that. There's not many people that get a group that has 62 sessions in a campaign either.
Yeah, we are the unicorn group.
Yeah, I wonder what the average is. Jump in the comments, everyone. What's the longest your campaign's ever run for?
Let us know.
Oh,
put in the comments.
You're a natural,
comment, subscribe.
Podcaster.
Do you think?
Asking for comments. You know what I would tweak about you asking for comments? You gotta beg for comments.
You gotta say please.
You gotta beg.
I'm not there yet. I've not done.
We need it.
I've not done 24 of these. You know, I real life work in marketing. I feel like I shouldn't beg for that kind of stuff.
No, I absolutely agree with Lewis. I don't know. Is it that unique that we do something like that? I don't know. I guess I don't really pay attention to other people's D&D campaigns, so I wouldn't really know. But I really like how each player has kind of their own mark in the world. Like, they've all helped build like certain areas. They've come up with certain cultures. I didn't realize it was that unique to us. I don't know if it is, but who knows. But I guess you're right in that it does help integrate the players into the campaign even more. But I remember at the very first time I started building the world that I was very very scared of letting the other players kind of build specific areas, because I didn't want them to be involved in the building process, because I think some part of me was scared that also takes them out of the immersion. Like, they kind of know like other stuff they shouldn't know about the world, and that takes away the exploration aspect that should be there in exploring the unknown.
Yeah.
And I know it's very hard for new players to stop metagaming and knowing things they shouldn't, or pretending to know the things their character wouldn't, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess it was a big leap of faith, and it worked out really well for, I guess, every party involved. So yeah, I agree. It's good. I like us. I like our stuff.
That's good. It's been a long time to tell you
Lewis,
I don't enjoy
you're
this.
fucking wrong.
How dare you.
I hate
This
how
is
you
my
build shit
world.
without my permission.
The living jungle?
piece of
What are
shit.
you, some kind of idiot? Tabaxi shouldn't exist in my campaign.
Misty Cliffs, what a dumb name.
Did you use name generator for that?
I mean, name generator is fucking.
It's so good.
That's my one saving
right?
grace, man.
Hey, always got to be quick on the generators.
I
and
always
they're
have them loaded
there.
up.
Fantasy name generators.
They are the best.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a creative person when it comes to making names, so I'm just like, hit up the generators.
Yeah, you can very obviously tell when you have a generator on the go and you don't have a generator on the go.
It's much smoother. It's like at the start I was like I scoffed at generators. I was like, I'm gonna come up with my own
Really?
names for every single NPC in
Yeah,
town.
nah.
And then after like the third one, I was like, fuck this. I want to Google some shit.
My approach is always to
Yeah.
come up with like one to three key NPCs that I have to make up the names for and like truly own them, and then everything else can just be generated.
all the random shit is.
Yeah, I don't care about making up a name for the butcher of the town.
Oh, I was gonna say something, but it would be too immersion breaking to you guys to know. It would be another peer into my very many flaws as a DM. So I'm not gonna
Are
say.
you going to
it.
tell me the passage's name
No,
was
but
name generated?
That can.
No.
Uh-oh.
No.
Hey, well, like, hey, just say it. It'll
Yeah.
open up discussion,
Open
right?
it up.
No, remember the last time I told you I had name generators up sometimes during your sessions?
No. You
disowned
didn't
me.
tell me. You didn't
You
tell me.
disowned me.
I figured
tell
it
me.
out, right?
Tell
I
us.
figured it out.
What is it? This will be it.
We'll save
I
it
sleuthed
for next
the fuck out of
podcast.
you.
That'll
When's
be
the next
cock
podcast?
tease for the next podcast. Is there anything else we wanted to discuss on this one?
Oh, did we go through all the
I think
Lewis,
list? Your list?
I think
Did we
we've
get through
covered
that?
everything. Yeah, the only thing that I kind of had was like, it's been really interesting playing Storm at the moment. We kind of touched on it, so we don't need to speak about it too much more. But because I've had this whole clear out of Storm's brain, I figured I have to regress a little bit in terms of how I play him and rebuild it. It's really weird. Like it's been really strange playing him again. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I've tried to lean more into being like the cheeky childish rather than evil adult.
evil.
Yeah,
evil
and I'm trying to take cheeky childish
Chaotic evil.
and combine it with that Vosny helping people and the good there, and combine it into something. And it's almost like I'm rebuilding Storm's personality again.
Yeah, you're rebooting the character. I mean, I did it with Snow at a certain point, so I mean, I think you've done a few more times than I have. But
Yeah, I think just depending on like the narrative, you've had to change him like 3-4 times in the last like 20 sessions.
This is true.
Purely because of the stuff he's been going through.
It's I guess I'm well practiced in it now, but it is hard. It's fun to do, but it is hard because I do have to think about what I do, and like I think my approach to RP is very off the tongue. Like I try and be in character while we're doing our stuff, and then so I can respond quickly to stuff. Because the whole take a pause thing works for some people, but for me, it's not. I overthink if I take a pause, and I think it just works better for this character at least. Maybe for other types of characters that I would play separately, like Yasinko, for example, in that section was I had to think about it because he was very reserved and conservative. But yeah, just jumping off of like masts. I realized I can jump off of a ship mast without dying. I was like, all right, let's just do it. Because that was quite funny because I thought he would catch me, and I was crying laughing at that one. And then to get my own back, I tackled him I tackled Ravenar off the edge of the thing. I think that kind of stuff, like it's that non-destructive but fun stuff that I think is it should be a staple in Storm's character.
Yeah, I think that's a really good place for where he is now, especially of what he's been going through. I mean, I wouldn't mind if you went a little more on the depressive side again, purely because of what Thunder has done.
Well,
but I think this is a good good direction at least.
I think Storm is a bit of a king in separating himself from his issues. I think he's learnt that over the last year or whatever he's been traveling along and doing his thing. So there are moments when it's obvious, like when Ravenar and Ravram were having like hugs and stuff. I probably need to push it a bit more, but Storm.
Actually, no, I think you did that really well.
Yeah?
I think you did that part really well. Yeah.
Just trying to say, like, I'm not trying to RP it at all. I'm not trying to jump in with a conversation because there's nothing to say. It's just Storm looks dejected and sad. He pushes a fake laugh out or something like, that kind of stuff. But it's anything that reminds him of the issues that you've got that will trigger, like, emotional.
I think the fact that you actually put a lot of thought into Storm means that, as a player, you're improving a lot. I think a lot of the time, some of our party members don't really think about what their characters really are. Like, take Tokul, for instance.
Oh, okay.
Remember the classic hiccup, right? I'm referring to a specific moment where he just converted to Engvir, and then he said to that merchant, "Hey, if you come around here again, I'll kill you myself." Right? So I think, like, you thinking about your character as a actual person who, like, goes through trauma and has to change the way they are and rethink who they are and how they act and that sort of thing is great. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good direction. Good step to go into. And I'm very happy to see where it goes.
It should be fun and helpful and good-hearted, but also silly, because I think Storm needs to be the comic relief of the group. I think it's fun for me.
Yeah, sometimes you're gonna have to need it. I mean, now that Ravenar's around, it's a little more lighthearted as well.
Yeah, it's Ravenar's bit. Yeah, Ryan was getting there, but I think Ravenar is the true evolution of that, which I can see now, which makes a lot of sense. It's obviously what Aidan wanted to be playing the whole time.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be good times ahead, and I'm very excited for the next few sessions and what might not happen. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited.
Should we call it here?
We should.
All right.
We didn't even like say what the ending of the session was, right?
Oh, the ending of the session was they go down the stairs.
We get down to the stairs.
Found the gift.
The drop.
And
then they get to find the
Storm
dwarf.
and Ravenar are like doing some sort of consensual ritual, and then we're like, oh, there's fighting in the next tunnel. We go in, and there's like a Githyanki there, or a bunch of Githyanki.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounded like there was more than one, but there was like a Githyanki there, and he pulls a sword out of the throat of a dwarf, and he looks at us, and we're like, dun dun. Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Chala.
Yeah.
Chala. Oh, okay.
That's the end of that session, and next session is probably combat, unless you guys know how to speak Gith, which you probably don't, or Undercommon, which you probably don't.
I wish we had a warlock in our party, a level 3 warlock right now.
I think Eisen could actually speak.
He could speak all languages. Yeah.
Oh,
she.
She could speak. Rest in peace.
But she ain't here. He ain't
We
here.
need to convince Rainier to join next session.
And I don't think he coming back. And I don't think he's coming back.
I don't think
he'll
he coming.
come
Maybe
back.
the new character. Maybe the new character would be maybe.
You mean Lewis's new character, or
No, the new character. New.
Well, I thought we weren't supposed to talk about that.
We're not talking about that.
No, we're not talking about
Well, I thought you said we're not. I thought you said we're not supposed to talk about that.
Are we not supposed to talk about that?
No talking.
Well, you said.
We're talking.
You said. Remember when
did I say
when
that?
I brought up the thing? You were like, yeah, well, it's not the time to talk about it. So, like,
I did.
You
say
want to
that.
talk about it?
No, we're not
You
talking
wanna
about
talk about
it.
it?
I said this is just a cock tease.
Oh
It's a cock
no, he's
tease.
backpedaling now.
No,
He's
it's cock tease.
backpedaling.
I'm just cock
It's
teasing.
cock
now.
tease.
I'm just.
It's not happening.
I'm
Why are you
edging.
teasing?
I'm
Why are you
edging.
teasing?
I'm edging.
Is it?
I'm so
edging?
close, but I'm not.
It's
I'm
not confirmed.
fine.
It's not confirmed. Like, how can you edge?
No, I've got this. I've got
I
this.
said maybe. I said
Listen
maybe.
to
Not
the
it
next
is.
episode of comment down below if you want to know.
No. It's not
what
gonna.
the
It's not gonna
cock
be in
tease-
the next episode. We don't know when it's happening. This is why you gotta follow what you say.
Continue
'Cause now
listening to
people are gonna ask
future
questions.
episodes of the Far
Yeah,
Kingdom
they should ask
podcast
questions.
to find out. Engage with us in the Discord to ask questions to the creators themselves,
Look at
Kevin
this
and
guy,
Albert, and they
at
might
this guy.
answer your questions about
trying to be a
how
proper podcaster. What the fuck are you
how
doing?
do they make a
Hey, dude,
podcast?
What are you doing?
How
Look at it, dude.
how do they do it? What was the inspiration behind the podcast, and
He's still going.
And really,
Alright,
what's
cue
the
the
editing
music.
process?
Cue the
Because
music.
really, it's very important to it's really important to know what a podcast is, and describing the D&D world is.
All right, guys, that was episode mid-20s. Fucking. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.